Okay, welcome to lesson number 2 here. Lesson number 2, we were talking about calculating circumference of a circle. So that's our topic today, calculating the circumference of a circle. So what's the goal? What's your learning goal? By the end of today, once you get through talking with myself and doing a worksheet, I want you to be able to explain, okay, what circumference means, and I want you to be able to calculate it if I give you a diameter or a radius. So first of all, what is circumference? Some of you might remember this from earlier. Circumference is the term used to describe the perimeter of a circle. The perimeter of a circle. Okay, so it calculates the distance around the outside. So distance around the outside. All right, so if we go to the circle here, I'm just going to shrink it a little bit for some more room. I'll find the center, which should be about there, O. We talked about in the previous lesson that there are two important lines in a circle, and that's our diameter, which is small d, and our radius, which is small r. We can find the circumference of a circle using either radius or diameter. So there's two formula. All right. So our formula, the first formula for circumference is, actually what I'm going to do this on the next page. Give me a little bit more space since this is going to be your note. So circumference is the term to describe the perimeter. So just making sure we're all good with that. Perimeter, the distance around the outside, that is our circumference in yellow. All right. So I'll just put this in, circumference is the edge length. All right, so moving along, there are two formula to calculate it, and this is just plural up here. When you see the AE ending on formula, you think it's spelt wrong. We don't say formulas, we say formulae. So it is correct, but it does look kind of funny. That's English for you, right? All right, so drawing in my diameter again, drawing a radius in again. So what we find is that there's a relationship, and you did this, it is in your grade, in the elementary school curriculum, you'd find that relationship, and we find that there are two formula here. The first formula, capital C for circumference, so I'm going to put a legend underneath, equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals 2 pi r. And I just want to make a note here. If you remember, the diameter is equal to twice the radius. We talked about that in the previous lesson. So what I basically did here was I took the d, all right, and I replaced it with a 2 and an r. So in the next formula, instead of writing diameter, here's the 2, and here's the r from that original formula, the 2r. Okay? So that's why these are equivalent, or these formulas calculate the same thing. Now let's talk about a legend quickly here, so that when you look back, you can remember what does each variable represent. So C is our circumference, D is our diameter, and R is our radius. Okay. Now, some of you might be saying, what's the funny little symbol here, pi? Okay, so you pronounce it just like the pie you eat at home, apple pie, blueberry pie, so on and so forth. That symbol is what we spell it just pi. and it's just a number. All right, so I'll put this off to the side. Remember, pi, is just a number. It's just a number. We just use it because the number is a very, very long number. Now we're going to use 3.14 as our value of pi. Okay? So we're going to use 3.14 as our value of. All right, so there you go. So you're going to be remembered, and by the end of getting through and doing all the work here, you're going to remember that pi is 3.14 because it comes up over and over and over again when we're dealing with the circle. All right, so calculate the circumference of the given circles. I'm going to do one here where I have a radius and one where I have a diameter. I'm going to show you the calculations, and then you can try this on your own once we had a chance to sit down and chat about it. Whoops, I said I was going to do radius first. So here's a radius, here's a diameter. So one of the kind of interesting things here, so I'm going to go 3 centimeters, and this one I'll say is 12 meters. It seems kind of funny that you only give them one dimension or one number and you're able to calculate a circumference, but that's all you really need. Okay, so for this first question here, we have, and this is what you're going to have to do, or the mental process you're going to go through. What information am I given? I am given a radius. If I'm given a radius, I have to pick the circumference formula that has r in it. So I have to use this formula here. And just as a reminder, when you have a formula where all three terms are side by side, there's no adding or subtracting symbols in there, it means multiplication. Okay? So to calculate the circumference of our first circle here, we would have 2 times, and remember pi is 3.14, times the radius, which would be 3. All right, and I'm just going to grab my calculator and we'll show you the calculations. All right, so I've gone and grabbed my itty bitty little calculator, and I turn it on here, clear some information. What it'll look like when you enter it in the calculator is just 2 times 3.14 times 3. And then you hit equals, and we get 18.84. So 18.84, and you have to tell me the units. You have to tell me what are we measuring in. Very, very important when it comes to communication. So if the radius was in centimeters, our final answer will be in centimeters. So we have calculated that the distance around this circle is equal to 18.84 centimeters. All right. Now the second example down here, again, you have to ask yourself, what do I have? A line that passes through the center of a circle is a diameter, and it is 12 meters in length. So I need a formula for circumference that has diameter, and we have one formula to pick from. Pi again is 3.14 multiplied by our diameter, which would be 12. So again, I go to the calculator, and I take 3.14 and I multiply it by 12. And it's 37.68. 37.68. What are my units? I go back and I see that it was measured in meters, so my answer is in meters. And now what do we have? Well, I have got the distance around this circle, and it is 37.68 meters. So if I was going to walk around a circle that had a diameter of 12 meters, I'd be walking 37.68 meters every time I went around. Okay, that's everything you need to know about calculating circumference. We're going to have a bit of a chat about it, and then you can work on the worksheet. So good luck with that, and we'll see you in the next video.